So today I thought I'd do a video on suspending belief. Now, you know what that means, right? Not believing something that you've heard until after you've seen the evidence for it, or until after the evidence has been presented. Well, there's a lot of that not happening when it should be happening, and then there's a lot of it happening when it doesn't need to happen. Let me explain what I mean. Take this whole fiasco with Comey, the former FBI director that was recently fired by Trump. You're fired! Comey's a fucking weasel, okay? If that's not blatantly evident to anybody watching this, then you really haven't been paying attention, and you've been engaging in suspending belief when the truth is presented, and not suspending belief when you're presented with lies. You would rather believe lies than the truth. That's what this is. Now, I have no idea why, but for some reason there's this perception out there that Trump is a hypocrite because he's going after illegal immigrants when his own family are immigrants, right? Well, guess what? His family came here legally, not illegally. They didn't hop the border, they didn't walk across, they didn't come over on a boat illegally. They came here legally. Now, another perception out there is that Donald Trump, and don't get me wrong, I'm an anarchist. I couldn't give a rat's ass about Donald Trump, right? But I'm just telling you this from my perspective, from what I see, from the reactions that I see people having to these stories that the media just won't stop harping on. Trump's success, for example, right? So many people out there think that Trump's success was handed to him. True, he got $1 million to start with. And how big is his business today? What's he worth today? You think that all of that was just handed to him? That he cheated? That he, stole? That he... Basically, people think that his success is ill-gotten gain. Well, let me ask you something. Every time you hear one of these lottery winners that win multi-hundreds of millions of dollars and then they just disappear, and the next time you hear about them, they're flat broke and destitute, and yet you think somehow that Trump getting $1 million to get started to build his empire with is not a measure of success. That's ill-gotten gain. Give me a fucking break. Other people writing on Trump's success is another one I noticed that's going around. Somehow, Melania Trump married Trump for his money, right? Riding his coattails. Excuse me, but wasn't Melania a world-renowned model and entrepreneur worth millions and millions of dollars about a decade before she ever met Trump? I think so. I wouldn't call that riding on anyone's success. Doesn't she also speak 5 languages and have some highfalutin degree? She's more educated than Donald Trump, and yet she married him. So this idea that somehow Trump's success is ill-gotten gain, and yet everybody's riding on his success, everybody in his family and those close to him, I am suspending my belief. Another thing that's come out today, there's finally getting some exposure in not the mainstream media, but in the alternative media, which is real news, as opposed to the mainstream media being the purveyors of fake news. So the mainstream media is not talking about Seth Rich, the DNC campaign chairman that was found murdered in Washington last June. Well, it's come out now that he was in contact with WikiLeaks about the DNC's collusion with the mainstream media to rig the election, to hand Hillary questions, to give her the questions before the debate. Now, the entire focus, of course, is on this collusion with Russia, and yet there's not a shred of evidence for it. So, for some reason, because it's the mainstream media saying it, just caught myself doing this. Am I racist for doing this now? Because it's the mainstream media saying it, people automatically believe it. They don't suspend belief. Now, if it's anybody else, if it's Alex Jones saying it, of course, automatically most people suspend belief and call Jones fake news. Now, AJ is a wildcat. I'll admit, he's got some weird ideas, and he says some pretty off-the-wall, ridiculous things quite often. But that doesn't mean he is fake news. That doesn't mean he isn't trying to bring you the truth. So just be aware of your own internal mechanisms that determine when you do and when you don't suspend belief. Now, I tend to suspend it for everything, right? I don't believe anybody. Not anymore. Least of all the mainstream media, even less than that, the government. I believe what I see. I believe what I hear. I believe what I can touch. And I have not seen, I have not heard, I have not witnessed one shred of evidence that Russia colluded with Trump. And in fact, Putin is coming out and saying that he can prove that there was zero collusion. Now, why is it that I tend to believe Putin over our mainstream media? Is that because I'm an idiot? Is that because I suspend belief at the wrong times for the wrong sources? Well, you may think so, and you're welcome to think anything you like. I don't have any control over that, but I'll tell you this much. Putin isn't trying to lie to me. Putin isn't trying to warp the values that I have into something that is disgusting. Putin isn't trying to tell me what values I should and shouldn't have. The mainstream media and the Democratic Party specifically very much are engaged in all of those things. Telling me what values I should have, who I should believe, when I should and shouldn't suspend belief, and it's usually always in the case that I should not suspend my belief when they're telling me something, and I should suspend my belief when anyone else is telling me something. Well, you know what? If the government told me, or if the mainstream media told me that the sky was blue and the grass was green, I'd have to go outside and check for myself, because I don't believe it.